They said horses don't cry. But if you were in that barn, watching what happened when she tried to walk away, you'd never forget it. It was the kind of morning that felt like a memory before it was even over. Pale fog drifted over the frostbitten grass. The old wooden barn stood quiet under the weight of winter, its beams groaning softly in the cold. Inside, the air was warmer, filled with the earthy scent of hay and something deeper, like the last heartbeat before goodbye. Abigail Monroe, just 16, stood in the barn's open doorway, her duffel bag clutched tightly in her right hand, the other pressed deep into the pocket of her coat as if trying to hold herself together. Behind her, the county worker leaned against the foster agency van. Engine idling. Clipboard in hand. Detached. A system person. A transfer person. Nothing more. Abigail turned around slowly, one last time, scanning the only home she'd ever truly felt safe in, not because of the roof, but because of who lived beneath it. Windsong. A tall, dapple-gray gelding with a wild mane and a spirit no trainer could tame. When he first arrived at the farm 2 years ago, they warned he was unpredictable, dangerous even. But for some reason, the very first time Abigail walked into the stall, he didn't rear or flinch. He lowered his head. And something unspoken passed between them, the kind of silent agreement only the broken understand. And now, she was leaving. They said the placement fell through. That the ranch had no more space for long-term care. That there was nothing to be done. Another family. Another town. Another goodbye. She stepped toward his stall. Windsong stomped once. Then again. Not wild. Not angry. Just alert. Waiting. She dropped her duffel at his gate and slowly slid it open. His muzzle pressed instantly into her chest, warm breath rising in clouds between them. Her eyes closed. Her fingers tangled in his thick mane. No words. Just breath. Just pain. I don't want to go either, she whispered into his neck. And that's when it happened. He pulled back, stepped out of his stall without being led, and stood beside her. Silent. Still. Unmoving. Like a soldier refusing an order. At first, the caseworker didn't notice. She was too busy tapping her pen against her clipboard, muttering to herself about mileage and time. But then the barn doors creaked open, not by hinges, but by force. The horse stepped out. Not aggressively. Not nervously. But with certainty. Abigail followed behind him, not holding the lead, just walking with him. The caseworker blinked, then stood up straight. Abigail, what are you doing? That horse isn't supposed to. He's not leaving, Abigail said softly. Put him back. Now. That's not your decision to make. But Windsong didn't budge. He planted his hooves like roots and let out a single, sharp breath through his nose. It echoed in the cold morning air. The kind of sound that turned heads. The ranch owners, already packing the barn for the next delivery, paused. One of them, a tall, wiry man named Daniel who never smiled, dropped the rake in his hand. Abigail, he said carefully, what did you do to that horse? Nothing, she said. He just knows. Knows she's being taken. Knows the weight she's carrying. Knows he's the only one who ever made her feel seen. Daniel slowly approached, hands out, ready to take hold of Windsong's reins. But the horse stepped sideways, not wildly, but purposefully, placing himself between Daniel and the girl. A wall. A protector. No one moved. Even the birds seemed to quiet. And then, from the porch, came the slow creak of the screen door. Miriam Whitmore, The widow who ran this place since her husband died a decade ago stood wrapped in a heavy coat, gray hair tucked beneath a knitted shawl, coffee cup trembling slightly in her hands. Her eyes, sharp with age, drifted between the girl and the horse. And then she said, almost under her breath, "Well, I'll be damned." Within the hour, something changed. The caseworker was on the phone, pacing, frustrated, trying to reach someone higher up. But Miriam wasn't pacing. She was writing. Signing papers. Dusting off an old, rarely used binder with legal forms from years ago, when she and her husband used to foster kids who needed more than walls. Windsong remained outside the barn the entire time, not moving from Abigail's side. Daniel fed him a sugar cube without looking him in the eye. "You're gonna ruin us," he muttered. "But you got guts." When the phone call ended, the worker marched up to Miriam. "You can't just override the agency like this. She's already been reassigned." Miriam smiled with her eyes. "I didn't override anything," she said. "I submitted a formal reapplication. For guardianship." She handed over the folder. "Effective immediately." Abigail stared, stunned. "You want me to stay?" "I don't want anything, sweetheart," Miriam said, walking over to her. "But he does." She gestured to Windsong. "And that horse hasn't let anyone near him in 2 years. Until you." Abigail looked up, eyes glassy. "You don't think he's just being protective?" "Oh, he is," Miriam said. "But not of the barn. Not of the ranch. Of you." Later that night, as the stars blinked into the winter sky, Abigail sat in the hayloft above Windsong's stall. Below, the big horse lay resting, his eyes half closed. She whispered down to him, like a prayer. "You saved me." Windsong let out a long, soft breath. And for the first time in years, she felt like she could finally exhale.